All right, guys. I need you guys to listen to me, okay? I need you guys to hear me out. I know this is going to sound crazy, but listen. Dan Hooker might actually have a chance to beat Arman Tsarukyan. Okay, I just said it, all right? I can already picture people looking at the screen like, bro, what are you talking about? Some of y'all people are already typing insults in the comments, specifically homophobic slurs. So hang on, just chill. Just let me explain before you send it, okay? Now, I'm not saying that Hooker's gonna win, but let's be realistic. The odds are against him. Arman is a monster. He's explosive, he's athletic, he's strong as hell, and he's got that pressure heavy wrestling that just, kills, He's the kind of dude that makes talented fighters look freaking average. You saw what he did to Beneil Dariush? Dead. You saw what he did to Charles? Beat his ass. And the worst part, it's a 5-rounder. That's dangerous for someone like Dan, who's basically being held together with duct tape at this point. The guy has taken so much damage over the years, and you can see the wear and tear every time he fights. He's not as fast, his reaction times aren't the same, and his durability, well, that has been tested plenty of times. But here's the thing, man. Even if it's slim, there is always a path, because every time we count out Dan, he finds a way to make things competitive. You look at his recent streak, okay? Yeah, it's not flawless. He beat some jiu-jitsu guy named Claudio. That guy tried to, use his jiu-jitsu game. He got, beat up by Dan Hooker. Jalen Turner, good fighter. Solid skills. But Hooker fought him with pure heart that night, man. He took a beating and still found a way to win. And Gamrot, listen, I love Dan. I love the Aussies. You know what I'm saying? JDM's going to win next Saturday. But that fight was dicey. It could have honestly went either way. Still, the fact that he was hanging in there with that level of competition shows something. It shows the mentality that Hooker is still in it. He's battle worn, okay? But he's not broken. And somehow, we are here in 2025, and Dan Hooker is somehow in the top 5, okay? What the fuck, man? We live in a simulation, okay? That's wild. After everything he's been through, the war with Poirier, getting knocked out by Chandler, the war with Felder, he's right back in the mix. That alone is freaking insane, okay? Now, do I think this fairy tale comeback continues with him taking out Arman Tsarukyan? Probably not. Arman's just too young, he's too hungry, he's too complete right now. But Hooker could win if he makes it ugly, keep Arman honest with that long jab, that front kick, and some good knees when Arman shoots. Maybe he could turn into a dogfight, alright? He's got to slow the pace down, make Arman hesitate, and punish him for level changing. Because if he doesn't do that, Arman is just going to maul this dude for 25 minutes, or he's just going to finish him early. So yeah, I'm not delusional, okay? I'm not fucking crazy. Arman should win this, but Hooker's got that crazy veteran grit, that kind of grit that doesn't always show up on paper. He's been through hell in the cage more times than I can count, and somehow he's still smiling, still fighting killers. And that's why I'm saying don't count him out completely. There's always that 1% chance. And with Dan Hooker, that 1% always makes things interesting. But hear me out. You cannot tell me if Dan Hooker somehow pulled this off, if he somehow beat Arman Tsarukyan, that this dude isn't about to go on a title run. Nah, I'm just kidding. He probably wouldn't. He'll probably get knocked out by Ilia Topuria. But it would be an amazing moment if he did beat Arman Tsarukyan. And, it would be cool, but it's probably just going to end up like the Dominic Reyes situation. Dominic Reyes, 3-5 win streak. Oh, he's going to beat Oldberg. And I'm like, over here, I'm done being delusional. And I'm like, oh, dude, Oldberg is so good. And Dominic Reyes has so many flaws to him. Yes, he was mowing down 205ers. But at the end of the day, when I was looking around the landscape, a bunch of the 205ers suck. And by the time he fought Oldberg, he got cooked. I think Dan Hooker might be in a similar situation, but I do think Dan Hooker has more tools and more opportunities to win this fight than a Dominic Reyes. Alright, that's enough beating around the bush. So this is how I'm looking at it, man. If Hooker wants any shot in hell, he's got to make those Arman entries hurt. I'm talking about knees, uppercuts, teeps, everything that makes him second guess shooting in. Yeah, Arman's level changes are fast, but he's not invincible on the way in. I mean, go back and watch the Joaquim Silva fight. Silva caught him late in round 2 with some nasty ass hooks and uppercuts, specifically when Arman was trying to close the distance, and Arman had a panic shoot just to recover. That's the blueprint right there. And the thing is, Hooker already has the tools for that style, baked into his game. He's got that long jab, those intercepting knees, and that mean front kick down the middle. Those are the anti-wrestling weapons if you use them right. Now, I'm not delusional, okay? I'm not delusional. I'm not expecting Dan Hooker to stuff every freaking takedown. Let's just be real. That's not going to happen. The goal here isn't to stop every shot, because at the end of the day, it's not about stopping every takedown, bro. It's about making every single one of them a damn workout for Arman. You want him huffing and puffing by the halfway point. That's where Hooker can steal in and start stealing some moments, maybe by round 2 or round 3. I mean, go rewatch the Gamrot fight. The dude was getting handled, but he flipped it once he made Gamrot work for every inch. He turned it into a grind, made Gamrot reshoot over and over, and you can see the gas tank starting to whine for mercy. And I think that's the playbook right there. Hooker's got to do the same thing in this fight. Don't just sit there on the bottom and accept it. Post up, frame off, get back to the feet, make him chain those takedowns until he's like, bro, why won't this guy stay down? Make it ugly, make it exhausting. But that's one way you could drag Arman into deep water, because you just can't out-explode him. You got to make him sweat for everything. Now, yeah, Arman's cardio is good. No one's denying that. But he's also fast twitch. He's an explosive dude. You can't keep that pace forever, especially if you're shooting on a tall, long guy like Hooker for 15 to 25 minutes. That's where Dan's experience and composure comes in my opinion. Hooker's been through wars. Bro, he's been hit by some of the hardest punchers at 155, and he's never been known for gassing out. Say what you want about him slowing down with age and his cardio or taking damage. His cardio is still there. So for target selection, body first, head later. Don't go head hunting early. Chop the body, with the jab, the gut. Throw some calf kicks to mess with Arman's stance, but don't get carried away. The moment you start over kicking, Arman's going to shoot under and take you for a ride. Teeps, jabs, body shots. In my opinion, that's the formula right there. You're not trying to knock him out early. You're trying to make him breathe heavy by round 3. Because when that happens, when Hooker starts talking in the cage, start smiling, start being a little psycho in there, he's like, I love this shit. And that's when the fight gets kind of fun. Arman loves those blast doubles. It's going to get a lot harder to lift and dump the dude who's fighting every time. That's where Hooker can take over, slowly, painful, minute by minute. And look, after round 3, that's where things start getting real interesting. Arman's entries do get a lot more easier to read. They're not sloppy, but you can tell he's not the same explosive maniac from the first 2 rounds. That bounce starts to fade, the reaction slows down, just a touch, and that's when Hooker's got to crank it up. Like, if he's not going to turn it into a puddle of blood by that point, it's time to impose his will. You know what I mean? Double up the jab, step forward, go full 5-round Robbie Lawler mode. Grimy pressure. I've noticed things about Arman, and it's not even a hate thing, it's just a fact. It's his biggest flaw, it's the repetitions. When he gets tired, he circles the same way, he shoots the same angle, and he tries to muscle the same entry over and over again. And that's where I think Hooker's window opens. That's where you start walking him down, making him uncomfortable, forcing him to fight instead of grapple. And the thing about Hooker, yeah, sure, he's taped together at this point, dude. The dude's basically held up by, heart and Gorilla Glue, but he's still that guy. This is the same dude who smiles when he's bleeding, who's talking back when things are getting ugly. Some fighters panic when the chaos hit, and for some reason, Hooker's just crazy, bro. He thrives on it, he loves it, he's psychotic. The dude's just a psycho, okay? The kind where you can see he's enjoying a pain a little too much, which is kind of weird, but it's kind of cool. And that's exactly the kind of mindset that can make Arman second guess himself later in the fight. Because once fatigue sets in, you're shooting on a guy who's still walking you down with a grin on your face. That's when the things start shift. That's when Hooker can start turning the tides, because he's meaner in those dark moments. He's been through the fire before, and if he can survive long enough to get Arman there, man, that's when it turns from a wrestling match into a brawl. Hooker could potentially win. Now, look, I'm not saying Hooker's about to go in there and have some magical night, he just somehow beat Arman. Like, let's be real, that's probably not happening. Because let's just say how it is. There's a good chance Arman just comes in there, mauls him early, drags him to the mat, and we're sitting here like, damn, that never even got started. That's totally on the table. But hey, if you're out here picking Hooker, I respect it, straight up. You got that dog in fantasy brand, and I can't hate that. I just personally can't go that far because I generally think the odds are stacked against him. And this is the thing, man. This is MMA, bro. There's always a chance. It's a fight. One well-timed knee, one wild exchange, one wild gas tank dump, and suddenly you're watching chaos unfold. But man, I tried, bro. I really tried to find a way for Hooker to win this thing. I went down the tape, their styles, the tendencies, and yeah, there are little windows, but I have to be realistic with you guys. At the end of the day, the physical gap between these twos are just too wide. Arman is built like a tank with turbo engine. The guy can close the distance in half a second, like blink, and he's already on your hips, especially in those first 2 rounds. It is ridiculous how fast he is. And let's be real, Hooker's not the same athlete that he used to be. His reactions aren't as sharp, and his durability has been tested over and over. One explosive takedown, one clean overhand, that can flip the entire fight in the first 5 minutes. Once Arman gets in deep on those hips, bro, it's probably over. You can try to peel him off. He's like a backpack with horsepower. He'll just ride you, slam you, and make every ounce of his strength, to beat your ass. And what makes it worse for Hooker is that he has this tall frame. It actually gives Arman an easier target to level change under. He doesn't even have to shoot perfectly. That long torso and that wide stance just invites the takedown. And when Arman's on top, it's not like Gamrot where he can just hold you down. Now, Arman's got cinder block fist, okay? He pounds away with purpose with that ground and pound. You can literally see the difference in the intent when it's on the mat. And those first 10 minutes, man, that's going to be a nightmare. Because I did mention that Dan Hooker needs to drag it, but Arman's pace is straight up violent. He mixes up the kicks and punches. They're just so fast. It could be like overwhelming. And am I the only one who can already picture him cracking Hooker with a head kick or folding him with one of those body shots? And that's another issue. Hooker starts slow, and that's always been his issue in my opinion. He likes to find his rhythm and build into the fight. But Arman doesn't give you that luxury. He's like, I'm going to get in your face, I'm going to shoot, I'm going to smash, I'm going to throw kicks before you can even breathe and shit. So it sucks to say this because I like Hooker, man, but he just takes too much damage, man. The chin's been touched by Poirier, Chandler, Turner. He's been through wars that take years off your prime. That 78% takedown defense that people used to quote, that was before all those wars. Now he's slower to react, slower to sprawl. You could tell his body has been through it. It's not even disrespect. It's just wear and tear. Hooker's one of those guys who's being held together by willpower at this point. And that's dangerous when you're facing a machine like Arman. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video to show how Hooker could potentially win. But honestly, the odds are microscopic. Like, if Hooker somehow pulls this off, I'll be the first one to say we live in a simulation. That's how wild it would be, okay? And it's not like I'm hating on Arman. The dude's a savage. People love to complain about wrestlers being boring, but the guy's different. He's explosive. He's mean. He tries to hurt you. He's not laying and praying. He's laying and breaking, if anything. I just think he's going to beat the living hell out of Hooker, and it sucks because I like Dan. I really do. But I think this is going to be rough. Like, cover your eyes by round 2 kind of rough, okay? But I wanted to make a video on how Hooker could potentially win, and that's still on the table. But honestly, the odds of that happening, very slim to none. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like always, guys, I'll see you on my next one.